The morning sun rose slowly over Haven 3, painting the sky in shades of purple and orange. 8-year-old Han Sue stood in her family's wheat field, her small hands touching the golden stalks that stretched as far as she could see. The second sun of this colony world was just peeking over the horizon, making the morning dew sparkle like tiny diamonds. "Sue, breakfast is ready," her mother's voice called from their modest home nearby. "5 more minutes, Mom," Sue shouted back, her eyes fixed on something strange in the sky. There were lights up there, different from the usual transport ships that brought supplies to Haven 3. These lights were bigger, darker, and moved in ways she had never seen before. Inside their home, Sue's father, Lee Min, sat at his computer terminal, reviewing the colony's agricultural reports. As colony farming chief, he had to make sure every harvest met Earth's growing food needs. His wife, Lee Na, was setting out bowls of hot soup and rice when their screens suddenly flickered. "That's odd," Min muttered, tapping his screen. "The satellite feed is acting up." Na walked to the window, looking for their daughter. "Sue, come inside now." But Sue couldn't hear her mother anymore. She was too fascinated by the lights that had grown larger and were now forming patterns in the morning sky. The objects were massive ships, unlike anything in Earth's fleet. Their hulls were dark purple, almost black, with strange symbols glowing along their sides. Warning sirens began to blare across the colony. Min's computer screen lit up with emergency alerts. "No, no, no," he whispered, his face going pale. "Nah, get Sue inside now." Na ran out the door, her heart pounding. The massive ships were now clearly visible, their strange designs marking them as definitely not human. First contact protocols should have meant peaceful communication attempts, but these ships were taking attack positions. "Sue," Na screamed, running through the wheat field. "Sue, come here." Sue finally turned at her mother's panicked voice. She saw fear in her mother's face, something she had never seen before. That's when the first beam of energy cut through the morning sky. The alien ship fired without warning, without attempting communication. The beam struck near the edge of the colony's main settlement, instantly vaporizing 3 buildings. Chaos erupted as more ships appeared, their weapons charging. "Mom," Sue called out, suddenly scared. She started running toward her mother, her small legs carrying her through the wheat as fast as they could. The second blast came without warning. A bright purple beam swept across the field, moving faster than anyone could react. Nell watched in horror as the beam reached her daughter. For one terrible moment, Sue's small figure was illuminated in purple light. Then she was gone, along with a large section of the wheat field. The colony's automated defense systems finally activated, but they were designed to handle pirates and asteroids, not an advanced alien fleet. Emergency broadcasts began transmitting across all human channels, reaching every colony and Earth itself. Min ran out of the house just in time to catch his wife as her legs gave out. Above them, the alien ships, later identified as belonging to the Void Empire, continued their assault on the colony. But the damage that would shake human space had already been done. The death of Han Sue, 8 years old, student, daughter, and the first human child killed by alien hostility, was captured by the colony's security systems. The footage spread across human space at light speed. Her final moments, her mother's scream, the casual cruelty of the attack. Within hours, the Void Empire would learn a lesson that would be written in the stars themselves. Humanity protected its own, and the death of a child would not go unanswered. As Haven 3 burned and emergency evacuations began, the footage of Han Sue's death reached Earth. In Luna Command, Admiral Ta Jin watched the recording in silence. When it finished, he stood up, his face a mask of cold fury. "Send the alert," he ordered his staff. "All fleets, all ships. This is not a drill. This is not a negotiation." He paused, looking at the screenshot of Sue's smiling face from her school photo. "This is retribution." Across human space, Ships began powering up. Weapons were loaded. Crews reported for emergency duty. The might of Earth's military machine turned its eyes toward Haven 3 and the aliens who had dared to kill a child. The Void Empire had made a fatal mistake. They had assumed humanity was weak because it sought peace. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Admiral Ta Jin stood at the window of Luna Command, looking at the blue marble of Earth hanging in space. The footage of Han Su's death played on screens all around the command center. No one spoke. No one needed to. "Sir," a young officer approached with a tablet. "The Defense Council is ready." Tai Jin nodded and walked to the main conference room. The walls showed the faces of Earth's top military leaders. Some were calling in from ships, others from distant bases. All wore the same grim expression. "You've all seen the footage," Ta Jin said, his voice steady but cold. "The Void Empire attacked without warning. They killed civilians. They killed a child." On one of the screens, Captain G1 of the destroyer Thunderchild leaned forward. Her hands were tight fists on her desk. 20 years ago, she and Han Su's mother had trained together at the Space Academy. They had been best friends until May chose a peaceful life on Haven 3. "What are our orders?" G1 asked. The Thunderchild was the newest ship in the fleet, with weapons that could tear through battleship armor like paper. Defense Minister Park stood up at the head of the table. "As of this moment, we are at war. The Void Empire has broken every rule of first contact. They have shown us their true nature." He looked at each face on the screens. "Show them ours." Tai Jin pressed a button, bringing up a map of known space. Red dots showed the last known positions of Void Empire ships. "We have tracked their fleet. They are still in the Haven system, attacking other colonies." "Not for long," Jae-won said. Her ship's engines were already warming up. The defense minister nodded. "Admiral Ta Jin will lead the response fleet. All available ships are to join him at these coordinates." Numbers flashed across the screens. This is not just about revenge. This is about showing every species in the galaxy what happens when you harm our children. In the shipyards around Mars, crews ran to their stations. The massive carrier Soul's Pride broke from its dock, its fighters already launching for patrol positions. Weapons that had never been used in real combat were loaded into launch tubes. Back in Luna Command, Ta Jin opened a secure channel to Ju-1. "Your ship will lead the first attack wing," he said. "I know about your connection to Na. Can you handle this?" Ji-won's face was like stone. "Sir, 20 years ago, I promised Na I would protect her family if they ever needed it. I failed." She touched a pendant at her neck, a graduation gift from her friend. "I will not fail again." "Very well." Ta Jin turned to his staff. "Send the order. All ships, all stations. Operation Child's Dawn is now active." Across the solar system, humanity's fleet came alive. Ships that had been on peaceful patrol changed course. Training exercises turned into war preparations. In underground bases on Earth, special weapons were pulled from storage. The Thunderchild moved into position near Mars, its crew working in focused silence. Ji-won walked through the ship's corridors, checking on her people. Every screen showed the same thing. Han Su's face, smiling in her school photo. "Captain," her weapons officer called out. "All systems are ready. We've loaded the new plasma torpedoes." "Good." Ji-won sat in her command chair. "We're not just fighting for vengeance. We're fighting to make sure no other child dies like this." In Luna Command, Ta Jin received the final reports. Over 300 ships were ready to jump. The largest fleet humanity had ever assembled waited for his word. He thought of his own daughter, safe on Earth. He thought of Han Su, who would never grow up. The choice was simple. All ships, he broadcast across the fleet. The Void Empire thought they could attack our worlds, kill our children, and face no consequences. They were wrong. He paused, looking at the battle map. "Today we show them why humanity has survived every crisis in our history." Today we show them why you never harm a human child. The fleet's engines lit up like new stars. Jump drives powered up, tearing holes in space. On the Thunder Child, Ji-1 touched her pendant one last time. "Nah," she whispered. "Watch us. This is for Sue." The fleet jumped, leaving the solar system in perfect formation. They carried with them humanity's rage, humanity's grief, and humanity's promise. Never again would a child die unavenged. The Void Empire was about to learn why humans were the most feared species in the galaxy when protecting their young. Song has sat in the cockpit of her fighter, running final checks on her systems. Around her, hundreds of other fighters filled the massive hangar of Soul's Pride. Every pilot had the same picture taped to their control panel, Han Su's school photo. Every pilot had the same fire in their eyes. "All pilots, check in," Song He called over the radio. She was lead pilot of the Tiger Squadron, the best fighter group in Earth's fleet. One by one, her pilots reported ready. In another part of the carrier, Commander Yun-hee studied the weapon they called Heaven's Wrath. The silver device was small, no bigger than a car, but it held power that made even veteran soldiers nervous. "Will it work?" Admiral Ta-jin asked, walking into the secure room. Yun-hee nodded. "We've never used it in real combat, but all tests show it can shut down any ship's power systems. One hit, and their ships go dark." She touched the device's smooth surface. "They won't be able to run." The fleet had gathered at the edge of human space. 300 ships formed the largest battle group in Earth's history. The Thunder Child led the formation, with Captain Ji-1 standing on her bridge, watching the stars. "Status report," Ji-1 called to her crew. "All weapons at full power," her weapons officer replied. "New plasma torpedoes are hot and ready. Shield systems at maximum." "Good." Ji-1 looked at the tactical display. The Void Empire ships were still in the Haven system, destroying colonies. They didn't know what was coming. Back on Soul's Pride, Song had gathered her pilots for the final briefing. The room was packed with men and women in flight suits, all wearing the Tiger Squadron patch. "Listen up," she said, pointing to the star map. "We hit them fast, and we hit them hard. Our job is to protect the big ships while they launch the main attack." She paused, looking at each face. "The Void Empire thinks humans are weak because we talk about peace. Show them how wrong they are." Commander Yun-hee's special operations team loaded onto their stealth ships. These small black vessels could slip past enemy sensors undetected. They would carry Heaven's Wrath right to the heart of the enemy fleet. "Remember your training," Yun-hee told her team. "We get one shot at this. Make it count." Admiral Ta-jin stood on the bridge of Soul's Pride, watching his fleet prepare. Reports came in from every ship, weapons ready, engines at full power, crews at battle stations. "Sir," his communications officer called. "Message from Earth Defense Command. They say—" He paused, checking his screen. "They say, remember Han Shu." Tai-jin nodded. "Send to all ships. The time for talking is over. The enemy chose violence. We will show them what human violence truly means." In her fighter, Song He ran one last system check. Her weapons were ready. Her engines hummed with power. On her control panel, Han Su smiled from her photo. "Tiger Squadron," she called to her pilots, "remember why we fight. Remember who we avenge." For Han Su, her pilots replied as one. Commander Yun-hee's stealth ships moved into position. Heaven's Wrath was armed and ready. Her teams checked their equipment one last time. "No mistakes," she told them. "We carry humanity's justice with us." On the Thunder Child, Captain Ji-1 opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships, battle positions. The enemy is about to learn why humanity survived every threat in our history. Why we reached the stars. Why we never fall." The fleet's engines glowed brighter. Jump drives powered up, ready to tear holes in space. 300 ships, thousands of fighters, and humanity's best warriors prepared for battle. Admiral Ta Jin gave the final order. All ships, jump now. Show them the fury of Earth. Space itself seemed to bend as the fleet jumped. They left behind the safety of human space, carrying with them the rage of billions. The Void Empire had killed a child, thinking there would be no consequences. They were wrong. The gathering storm of humanity's vengeance was about to break upon them. And when it was over, the galaxy would never forget why you should never harm a human child. The fleet vanished into jump space, heading for the Haven system. The hunt had begun. The human fleet burst out of jump space like angry hornets from a broken nest. The Void Empire ships, still attacking Haven 3's outer colonies, didn't notice them at first. That was their second mistake. Their first had been killing Han Su. All fighters, launch now. Song He's voice cut through the radio silence. Her Tiger Squadron poured out of Seoul's pride, along with hundreds of other fighters. Their engines left blue trails in space as they flew toward the enemy. The Void Empire ships were huge, dark purple vessels that looked like giant arrowheads. When their sensors finally spotted the human fleet, they started to turn. But they were too slow. Tiger Squadron, follow me. Song had pushed her fighter to full speed. Target their sensor arrays. Blind them first. Her squadron split into perfect attack formation. The Void Empire launched their own fighters. Strange, circular ships that moved like they didn't follow normal physics. Captain G1 watched from the bridge of Thunderchild as the fighter battle began. All weapons target the nearest enemy battleship. Show them what human weapons can do. The Thunderchild fired its new plasma torpedoes. They cut through space like blue comets, hitting the enemy ship's shields. The purple barriers flickered and died. The battleship's hull cracked open like an egg. Direct hit. Ji-won's weapons officer shouted. Their shields couldn't handle our new weapons. In her fighter, Song-ha rolled past enemy fire, leading her squad through the chaos. Look for the weak spots, she called. Their engines aren't protected. Tiger Squadron struck like their namesake. Their bullets and missiles hit the enemy fighters' engines, making them spin out of control. Soon, broken alien ships filled space around them. Commander Yun-hee's stealth ships flipped through the battle unnoticed. Heaven's wrath is ready, she reported to Admiral Ta Jin. Moving into position near their command ship, the Void Empire finally organized their defense. Their ships formed a line, firing strange purple beams that could cut through metal. But human ships had studied the footage from Haven 3. They knew what to expect. Shields holding. Reported ships across the fleet. The Void Empire weapons were strong, but humanity had planned for this fight. Tiger Squadron, clear a path. Song-ha ordered. Her pilots formed up again, blasting through a group of enemy fighters. They made a hole in the enemy defense line, right where Yun-hee needed it. Now, Commander Yun-hee activated Heaven's Wrath. The device sent out invisible waves that spread through space. Suddenly, 6 Void Empire ships went dark. Their engines died, their weapons stopped working. It works. Yun-hee's voice was full of fierce joy. Their power systems are completely dead. Admiral Ta Jin saw his chance. All ships, focus fire on those powerless vessels. Don't let them restart their systems. The human fleet attacked as one. Plasma torpedoes, energy beams, and traditional missiles struck the helpless enemy ships. They never had a chance to recover. Song-ha led her squadron in circles around the dying ships, shooting down any escape pods. No mercy, she reminded her pilots. Remember Han Su. On the Thunderchild, Captain G1 opened a channel to the largest remaining Void Empire ship. This is your only warning, she said, her voice cold. Surrender now. The alien response came in broken English. Humans weak. Always talk. Never fight. J1 smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Look around you. Still think we're weak? The battle had lasted less than an hour. 15 Void Empire ships floated in space, broken and burning. The human fleet had lost only a few fighters, no major ships. Status report. Admiral Ta Jin called out. Enemy fleet is retreating. His tactical officer replied. They're jumping out of the system. Let them run, Ta Jin said. Let them tell their leaders what happened here. This is just the beginning. Song Ha led her squadron back to Seoul's Pride. As they landed, repair crews were already preparing their fighters for the next battle. This was only their first fight. In the debris field that had been the Void Empire fleet, Commander Yun He's teams collected alien technology for study. Every piece would help them in the battles to come. All ships, Admiral Ta Jin broadcast to the fleet. Well done. But remember, we're not finished. This was just the first blow. We won't stop until they understand the price of killing the human child. The fleet regrouped, ready to follow the retreating enemy. Somewhere out there, the Void Empire was learning a hard lesson. Humans weren't weak. They were the most dangerous species in the galaxy when protecting their own. And they were just getting started. 3 weeks after their first victory, the human fleet pushed deep into Void Empire space. They had won every battle, leaving broken purple ships floating in their wake. Now they approached something important, a major Void Empire base. Look at the size of that station, Song Hae whispered as Tiger Squadron flew close enough to see it. The alien station was shaped like a giant purple ring, with hundreds of ships docked around it. Commander Yun He's stealth ships had already gathered information about the base. They're using it to build ships, she reported to Admiral Ta Jin. It's also their main fuel depot in this sector. Then we'll hit it hard, Ta Jin decided. But something bothered him about this target. It seemed too easy. Captain Ji-won felt the same worry on the bridge of Thunderchild. They're not defending it properly, she said to her crew. Something's wrong. She was right. As the human fleet moved closer, their sensors picked up strange readings. The Void Empire had laid a trap. Multiple ships coming out of stealth, shouted Song Ha. They're behind us. Hidden Void Empire ships appeared all around the human fleet. They had copied Commander Yun He's stealth technology. Now they thought they had the humans surrounded. But humans were good at turning traps against their makers. All ships, execute battle plan Stonewall, Admiral Ta Jin ordered calmly. Every human ship suddenly changed position, forming a sphere with their strongest shields facing out. They had practiced this move many times. Tiger Squadron, defensive positions. Song had led her fighters in tight circles around the fleet's biggest ships. They had trained for this too. The Void Empire attacked from all sides. Their purple beams lit up space like angry lightning, but the human ships held their ground. Heaven's Wrath ready, Commander Yunhee reported. She had modified the weapons since their first battle. But sir, something's different about their ships. She was right. When Heaven's Wrath activated, only half of the enemy ships lost power. The others kept fighting. They learned from our first attack, Jaewon said. But so have we. Launch the new missiles. Thunderchild fired a wave of special missiles. Instead of exploding, they attached to the enemy ship's hulls and started drilling. Soon, holes appeared in the Void Empire ship's armor. Song saw her chance. Tiger Squadron, attack pattern rain. Hit the holes. Her fighters dove through the enemy fire, shooting missiles into the gaps in the alien ship's hulls. Explosions bloomed in space like deadly flowers. But the Void Empire had one more surprise. Their space station started to move, breaking away from its moorings. It wasn't just a station. It was a giant ship. All ships, focus fire on that station. Admiral Ta Jin commanded. Don't let it escape. The whole human fleet turned their guns on the massive ring. Commander Yun He's teams launched special bombs that stuck to the station's surface. Captain Ji-won's Thunderchild fired its strongest weapons at the station's engines. The station tried to fight back. It launched waves of fighters and fired huge purple beams that could cut a battleship in half. But humanity's weapons had improved during the war. "Keep pushing," Song He called to her pilots. Tiger Squadron flew through the chaos, leading the attack. They had lost friends in this war, but they hadn't lost their courage. Finally, the station's defenses started to fail. Its engines flickered and died. The giant rings started to break apart. "We found something in their computers," Commander Yunhee reported. "This station, it was where they planned the attack on Haven 3, where they decided to kill our people. To kill Han Su." Admiral Ta Jin stood on his bridge, watching the station die. "Then let's make sure they remember this day. All ships, finish it." The human fleet fired everything they had. The station broke into pieces, its purple hull turning black in death. Around it, the remaining Void Empire ships tried to run. "Let some escape," Captain G1 suggested. "Let them tell their leaders what happened here." As the battle ended, Song He led her squadron in one last flight past the destroyed station. "For Han Su," she said quietly. Her pilots repeated the words. The human fleet regrouped, counting their losses and fixing their damage. They had won another battle. But the war wasn't over. Somewhere deeper in space, the Void Empire's leaders were waiting, and humanity was coming for them next. The human fleet reached the edge of Void Empire's home system after 2 months of fighting. Their ships showed battle damage, but their weapons were still strong. More importantly, their determination hadn't changed. Admiral Ta Jin called all commanders to a meeting on Seoul's Pride. Captain Ji-won, Commander Yunhee, and Song has sat around a table looking at maps of the alien system. "This is their home," Ta Jin said, pointing to a purple planet near a red sun. "Their leaders are there, the ones who ordered the attack on Haven 3. Song He studied the planet's defenses. There are thousands of ships protecting it, more than we've ever fought before. And something else," Commander Yunhee added. She showed them data from her stealth ships. "They have a weapon. Something big. Our scouts couldn't get close enough to see it clearly." Captain G1 touched the screen, zooming in on the planet's largest city. "We could end this war today. One strong attack. And we kill millions of their civilians," Ta Jin finished, "including their children." The room went quiet. Everyone looked at Han Su's picture on the wall. "We're not them," Ji-won said finally. "We can't be them." Ta Jin nodded. "Commander Yunhee, take your best team. Find out what that weapon is. Song Ha, prepare your pilots. When we attack, we hit military targets only." As they left the room, a message came from the Void Empire. Their leaders wanted to talk. "It's a trap," Song has said immediately. "Of course it is," Ta Jin agreed. "But we'll go anyway. And we'll be ready." The Thunder Child carried the human leaders to the meeting point, a small space station between the fleets. Commander Yunhee's stealth ships washed from hiding. Song He's fighters waited nearby. Inside the station, Admiral Ta Jin and Captain G1 met the Void Empire's Supreme Commander. The alien was tall and purple, with 4 arms and eyes that glowed like stars. "Why do you keep fighting?" the alien asked in its strange voice. "You've lost many ships, many lives, all because of one small human." Ji-won stepped forward, her hands shaking with anger. That small human had a name. Han Su. She was a child. She was innocent. "Children die in war," the alien said coldly. "This wasn't war," Ta Jin replied. "You hadn't declared war. You attacked peaceful colonies. You killed civilians. You killed a child who was playing in a wheat field." While they talked, Commander Yunhee's team found the secret weapon. It was worse than they feared. "Admiral," her voice came through Ta Jin's hidden radio. "It's a planet killer. They're planning to destroy Earth." Ta Jin showed no reaction, but Ji-won saw his hands tighten. "This is your last chance," Ta Jin told the alien leader. "Surrender. Face justice for your crimes, or we will show you what humanity does to protect its own." The alien laughed. "You are too soft, too worried about innocent lives. This is why you will lose." "No," Ji-1 said quietly. "This is why we will win. Because we remember what innocent means." The meeting ended. As they walked back to their ship, Ta-Jin sent orders to the fleet. "All ships, prepare for final battle. Remember, military targets only. Show them the difference between justice and revenge." Song-He led her fighters into position. Commander Yun, his teams moved to disable the planet killer. Captain Ji-1's Thunderchild took its place at the front of the fleet. "All hands," Ta-Jin broadcast to every human ship. "The enemy thinks we are weak because we care about innocent lives. They think we are soft because we remember Han Su's name, because her death still makes us angry." He paused, looking at the massive Void Empire fleet ahead of them. "Show them that humanity's strength comes from protecting the innocent. Show them that our memory of Han Su makes us stronger, not weaker. Show them why Earth's children sleep safely in their beds." The human fleet moved forward as one. The biggest battle of the war was about to begin. And this time, they would end it. The final battle began with a flash of light that lit up the whole system. Commander Yun, his team struck first, their stealth ships appearing next to the planet killer weapon. Heaven's Wrath worked one last time, shutting down the massive device before it could power up. "Weapon neutralized," Yun-He reported. "Strike now." Song-He led Tiger Squadron straight at the enemy fleet. "All fighters, protect the bombers. Get them to those military bases." The Void Empire's home fleet responded with everything they had. Purple beams filled space, trying to stop the human attack. But humanity had learned from every battle, improved after every fight. "Remember our mission." Admiral Ta-Jin's voice reached every human ship. "Military targets only. We are not them. We will never be them." Captain Ji-1's Thunderchild led the main fleet forward. Her ship's guns targeted the enemy's biggest warships while avoiding civilian stations. Some Void Empire ships tried to hide behind passenger vessels, but Ji-1 wouldn't fire at them. "Find another way," she ordered her crew. "We don't hurt civilians." Song-He saw enemy fighters heading toward a civilian transport. Without hesitating, she led Tiger Squadron to protect it. "Form up. Don't let them force us to hit that ship." The battle raged for hours. Human ships took damage but kept fighting. They had come too far to stop now. Commander Yun, his teams disabled more enemy weapons. Song-He's fighters cleared paths for the bombers. Then something changed. Some Void Empire ships stopped firing. Then more. Soon, half their fleet had powered down their weapons. "What's happening?" Song-He asked, watching enemy fighters return to their carriers. The answer came from the planet below. The Void Empire's regular citizens had learned the truth about Haven 3, about Han Su, about the planet killer meant for Earth. They were telling their military to stop. "This is General Pak of the Void Empire Defense Force." A new voice came over all channels. "We request cessation of hostilities. We did not know about the child." Admiral Ta-Jin sat straight in his command chair. "Prove it. Surrender your military command. Face justice for your war crimes." "The Supreme Commander is trying to escape," Commander Yun-He reported. Her stealth ships had spotted a small vessel leaving the planet. Captain Ji-1's voice was cold. "Not this time." The Thunderchild moved to block the escape ship's path. "You will answer for Han Su." The Supreme Commander's ship tried to run, but it was alone now. No one came to help it. The Thunderchild caught it in a tractor beam. "All ships, hold position," Ta-Jin ordered. "Accept surrender from any vessel that powers down weapons. Remember who we are." Song-He led her squadron in protecting ships that surrendered. Some enemy fighters tried one last attack, but most stood down. The war was ending not with a huge explosion, but with quiet acceptance. Commander Yun-He's teams secured the planet's defense centers. Captain Ji-1 personally arrested the Supreme Commander. The alien leader seemed smaller now, its glowing eyes dim. Why? G1 asked it. Why did you attack Haven 3? Why kill civilians? Why kill a child? The alien looked at her. We thought humans were weak because you valued peace, because you protected your young instead of using them as soldiers. We thought you would break. No, Ji-1 said. We're strong because we value peace, because we protect our children, because we remember Han Su's name and still choose justice over revenge. Admiral Ta Jin sent the final message to Earth. Victory achieved. The Void Empire surrenders. Their leadership will face trial for war crimes. Their people have chosen peace. In the days that followed, humanity helped rebuild what they had destroyed. They taught the Void Empire about peace, about protecting the innocent, about being strong without being cruel. 1 year later, on Haven 3, a new memorial stood in the wheat field where Han Su died. It wasn't big or angry, just a simple stone with her picture and some words. Han Su, beloved child. Her memory taught 2 civilizations. The true meaning of strength. Song Ha landed her fighter near the memorial. Commander Yun-hee and Captain Ji-1 stood with her. Admiral Ta Jin placed flowers by the stone. Was it worth it? Song He asked quietly. All the fighting, just to end in peace. Yes, Ji-1 answered, touching the stone. Because now they understand. The whole galaxy understands. You never harm a human child. The 2 suns of Haven 3 set slowly, painting the wheat field gold. Somewhere up there, human and Void Empire ships patrolled together, protecting the peace that Han Su's memory had taught them all to value.